I've had this idea for a while for a course I wanted to create, which is called the Freedom Framework. 20 or 30-minute conversation with ChatGPT over the course of the next 4 to 5 hours. Because I had given it sufficient data, it was able to create a course for me, an email campaign, all of the supporting collateral. It was able to start helping me write a book. And this was all on a 6-hour flight to Hawaii. And so your ability to scale is no longer limited by
Hello, Andrew. This is Wally Darling, and I want to first of all say thank you for spending some time with me today, and I really appreciate you taking that time. Where are you calling in from?
What's up, Wally? I'm excited to be on this podcast, man. I'm in Denver, Colorado. I think I'm just down the road from you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm in Castle Pines, so we're not too far from each other. Seems like we're right next door right now, or maybe in the same room.
Well,
But
it's raining here in Cherry Creek. I don't know what it's doing near where you are.
yeah, it's just starting. I had to bring my dogs in; they were just starting to get a little wet. So let me give you a little bit of a framework of how this is going to go today. We're going to talk about a little bit about your role in your business, and then we'll get into some big trends that you're seeing in your industry, and then we'll talk a little bit into the challenges and what keeps you up at night, and then finally we're going to wrap it up with where you think you'll be heading in the next 6 to 12 months. Okay.
Let's do it. I'm
Uh, all,
excited.
all in all, this is going to be about 20 to 30 minutes. Does that sound good?
Game on. Let's do it.
All right. So first of all, if you would, in your own words, feel free to use whatever verbiage necessary. But tell me a little bit about your role in your business.
So I have two businesses. Wally. I started a company called Virtual Assist. So we do virtual assistant staffing, top-notch talent. I see Yaneza and Rita here hanging out in the background. And for the people that are listening on audio, these are two of my rock star admins overseas. And let's see, try to do this the elevator version. So in 2018, I had just started my financial planning practice. A buddy of mine who is a realtor came back from a real estate conference. And he was like, dude, get this. There was a company over there. They set you up with an admin in the Philippines, and get this, they're $5 an hour. I was like, shut up. And he's like, yeah, get this. I hired one. I'm about to hire my second. I might even hire three. I was like, shut the front door. And so I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. And I was like, there's no way this will work. I'm regulated by the SEC and FINRA and all this stuff. And so I hired one, and it was a game changer. I'll never forget. Her name was Rochelle. And so the freedom that I experienced from hiring virtual assistants, I wanted to deliver that back to my clients who are business owners. So that's one of my companies. It's called Virtual Assist. We do top-notch talent overseas. And then the other company I have is a company called Freedom AI. So we do AI automations for businesses. There's this wave of AI that's coming out, right? And the reality is that the technology is out here, but the user is still back here. And so what an AI agency does is we just try to bridge that gap. And so we say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, there's 2 or 3 tools you should be using. We don't have to go out and develop these new tools. They already exist. We're just going to set them up for you. And so that's the 1-2 punch: virtual assistants and artificial intelligence to put your entire business on autopilot.
Yeah. And I would imagine that allows people to spend more time doing what they need to be focusing on, which is interaction with the actual client and helping, work through that process, as opposed to a lot of the back office stuff, which, quite frankly, I'm sure I could learn it, but the amount of time it would take me to replicate that would probably be quite some time down the road.
Well, you're a financial advisor. It feels like every day there's some new regulation or change to the industry that prevents me from doing what I actually should be doing, which is meeting with clients and helping them achieve their goals, right? And so the AI company is called Freedom AI. So the goal is just to create freedom for business owners, right? These are things that are taking you away from the high touch things. And I know there's a lot of fear around AI. People are worried about losing jobs. And I just don't think that's what AI is supposed to do. I think it's supposed to be a tool that you leverage to create freedom so that you can do more of the high touch human stuff, right? That we all love doing. But things like paperwork and menial repetitive stuff, that you should be automating. So 100%, I agree with you there.
Yeah. So, let's switch gears a little bit. Any other big trends that you're seeing in the industry? Like, for instance, I'm in financial services. I've been doing this since 1996. And I mean, I used to do long form paper apps, and then we got, the ability to do DocuSign. And then all of a sudden, back then people were doing dinner seminars, and then they were, it's changed so much. And so, one of the biggest challenges right now I see in my industry is how to reach the actual qualified person that wants to engage for what we do at the time we want to engage, and marrying those two up. So, that's become more and more cost prohibitive to narrow down who those people are. And then they're getting bombarded by the same stuff. And so it's almost like, to me, radio static, and they're just like, no, no, I don't want to talk to anybody. So what are you seeing out there?
In terms of like a trend in financial services, or just, trends with AI in particular?
Well, well, maybe a little bit financial service, but how is this impacting? Like, right now I'm going to be working with some medical practices. Some are more are smaller, some of them are pretty much regional, some of them maybe even national. But helping those companies to grow efficiently without having to, spend an inordinate amount of money on an expansion plan that may or may not work.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have an ounce of creativity, you have just been handed a lottery ticket, right? What I can do in 30 minutes with ChatGPT or Grok or whatever it is, it literally, it's wild. So I'll give you an example. On the Midland trip, my wife and I were flying to the Midland trip in Hawaii, which is, a trip for, financial advisors. And I've had this idea for a while for a course I wanted to create, which is called the Freedom Framework. And so maybe had a 20 or 30-minute conversation with ChatGPT. And over the course of the next 4 to 5 hours, because I had given it sufficient data, it was able to create a course for me, an email campaign, all of the supporting collateral. It was able to start helping me write a book. And this was all on a 6-hour flight to Hawaii. And so the your ability to scale is no longer limited by, take for example, legal contracts, right? For my company Freedom AI, we wanted to have an ironclad legal contract or partnership agreement, which may have cost us 3 to 5 grand a couple of years ago. We basically created it with ChatGPT, and we like had it done probably within an hour. And so your ability to create and to scale and to do things, there's never been a greater time to be alive. And so I would say for your busy medical professionals that you'll be talking to, it's really about just starting to try things, and the worst you can do is like, hey, something doesn't work. But I would not. I would say the people that are sticking their heads in the sand are going to miss out, right? If you're just avoiding it, then you will miss out, or someone will come along and beat you at your own game, right? But if you're willing to learn, and again, like here's the beauty, like I am not a do-it-yourselfer. I'm quick to hire someone when I see value. And so you can hire a company like mine, Freedom AI, and like you don't have to know all the super nerdy AI stuff. We'll figure it out for you and tell you what you should be doing. So there's always a resource. It's just a matter of having the right mindset to take advantage of those things.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a huge game changer in my industry, but I can certainly see how if you're a small business owner, whether it be medical or dental, or I'm got some contacts in farm and ranch. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different little niches, but the bottom line is most people in small business are focused on the day-to-day of running that small business
Yeah,
and how to expand it and how to make it more efficient and more profitability and all that sort of stuff. A system like this is definitely going to allow them the freedom to focus on the things that are really critical, strategic things they need to be doing long term. So,
totally. Yeah. I mean, you still need to stick your hand in the ground to get the tomato out, right? And you need to
yeah.
still need to have someone work in your mouth to do the dental work. And so, what we can automate is something like potentially the receptionist role, right? This is the probably the low tier work that it's hard to get an American to stick at that job anyway. So that dental professional is freed up to do more high touch stuff, which is working with their patients. And so again, it probably is replacing some of the entry level stuff, but not necessarily in a bad way. It's just time to innovate and do something different. So
Well, in my own practice, a number of years ago, it was costing me $65,000 just to have a receptionist to answer the phone and do some, administrative stuff, but really not a lot of high producing dollar type of activity. And 65,000, and can only imagine $65,000 applied into your world would certainly enhance the effectiveness of that $65,000 spend.
and a great example, right? So a financial advisor, you can go to ChatGPT and get financial advice, but it's not going to hold you accountable. It's not going to hand you a check if you lose a loved one, right? You still need a human to kind of hold your hand through the process. And I think as AI changes, I mean, there's always going to be do-it-yourselfers. When I was an advisor, trying to trying to get the guy that's at Vanguard paying like 0.0015% for his ETFs was always a tough sale, right? But there were still plenty of people out there that wanted high touch. They wanted their hand to be held. They wanted to be invited to an appreciation event or referral thing. So again, I see it as a lottery ticket for anybody that's creative. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I got involved in this is because I think it's going to allow me to help do what I do best for my clients that kind of come through this process with us. And so are there any challenges that you would think that might keep you up at night? Some of
For me, it's not growing fast enough. Yeah.
it.
So we have good deal flow, but I'm really impatient. So I just
Yeah.
wish things would close faster.
Uh-huh.
And then I would also say, I mean, cash flow is king, right? So the I'm always wondering if I need to take on investors. So we're growing, but in my mind, I want to hire this person, this person, this person. I want to spend this much money on marketing, and so that all comes with time. But I kind of wish it would all happen faster.
Right. And I would imagine, from business to business to business, some of the things that I hear are that people are staying awake at night because A, they don't know how to grow their business. B, they're not sure how to keep the key employees.
Yeah,
How do you incentivize
that
them?
is a good one, Wally. Yeah, you bring up a good point.
you
Hmm.
know, and then, what's your exit strategy? I mean, if I was just in a veterinarian's office today, picking up some medicines for my dogs, and I mean, they must have spent, $1.5 million, really nice, top-notch deal. But I mean, they're in their probably mid-30s. And unless they were planning on selling that, building it up and selling it, in the next 20 years, then, they've got some kind of long-term track that they're going to be running on. And they're going to have, if they're not careful, a steady flow of people coming and going. Because let's face it, my experience is there's not a lot of loyalty in corporate America or with employees these days. And so, how do you incentivize the right people to stay in your business, to help you build your business, to think outside that employee box? Um, fortunate for me is in my world, there's a lot of ways to do that that are just not Main Street common knowledge type things.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
so, um, where do you kind of see your business going in the next 6 to 12 months?
So my goal by the end of this year is for both of my businesses to be at $100,000 a month of revenue. We just crossed 30 a month in revenue for the AI business. We're at 60 a month for the VA business. So yeah, I'd be really happy if we end up at $1 million run rate at the end of the year. But within 3 years, I want them both to be $10 million companies. So that's my
Right.
goal.
Yeah. Are you when you say you're expanding, like I've got a person that's probably a year behind you in terms of trying to do something very similar to this. Would you entertain possibly a conversation? He's local to Fort Collins,
Sure.
and he's
Of
he's an
course.
advisor for 25 years, and he's just quite frankly sick and tired of the financial services world. And so he and him and his daughter have been putting together this stuff. But I know from talking to you and seeing what you guys are doing, he's at least 6 months to a year behind what you guys are doing, and he might be a good, I don't know, way to leverage some expansion.
Let's do it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love
Okay.
to talk to him.
Okay. Anything else that you think might be worth sharing or words of advice?
Hmm. I would say, um, yeah, there's a lot of things that I could share. I would just say, hey, if it's regarding the AI stuff, just spend 5-10 minutes a day. Literally YouTube, podcast. And so okay, that is a good thing. I have a friend. It was interesting, who said he was really afraid of the AI stuff taking his job. I was like, why are you afraid? Like, why don't you become the AI expert at your company and get a promotion? Right. So, because a lot of the business owners I talk to, a lot of them are baby boomers, right? And the baby boomers are increasingly aging out. And a lot of times they're looking to transfer the asset somehow to someone in their family or sell it, right? And so a lot of times when I talk to these guys, they have their son or daughter working at the company. They're like, oh, that's my AI expert over there. I'm like, really? Your son, who happens to be 30, so that's why he's the AI expert, you know? So like learn these tools, because I think a lot of people are looking for answers. And if you just learn them a little bit, and you figure out some sort of automation inside your business, you can just take that and you will be loved forever. They will take good care of you. So just instead of, you know, operating in fear, just learn how to take the tools in and figure out a way to even automate parts of your role. So
Yeah, it's kind of funny just showing my age a little bit, but I graduated from University of Georgia back in the 80s. And I actually have a systems management degree, and we had several courses on AI back then. And it
hmm,
was the sum total was to develop like an expert system,
yeah.
by putting a bunch of rules in there. And if you answer these, and then it spits out, but very, very generic. And now it's 30 years later, it's mushroomed. And it seems like the momentum's been building slowly, but now it's like exploding. And you mentioned Chat GPT. Is that a subscription
Yeah,
software?
yeah. So yeah, that's just one of the large language models. I think the premium's like $20 a month, but they have
Yeah,
a free
I mean,
version too.
yeah, I mean they'll write you one email and it's worth $20.
Totally. Totally.
You know. All right. Well, I want to say thanks again for spending some time with me today and helping me to understand kind of what your business is looking like. And I look forward to our continued relationship. And we're just getting started here, but hey, I'm like you. I'm an impatient person, so
I'm excited for you, Wally. It's going to be an awesome podcast, and I look forward to all amazing guests you're going to have on here.
and I'll be sure and get you in touch with that guy up in Fort Collins.
Cool.
Thank you.